My name is Claire Monroe, and if anyone had told me that love could find its way back after being broken, I would have laughed. Because I thought I had already lived the love of my life. It all began 3 years ago, in the heart of Seattle, where I was trying to rebuild the pieces of myself after a heartbreak that almost shattered me. My ex, Ethan, had left me when life got hard. No explanation, no closure, just a quiet goodbye text and silence that echoed louder than words. I told myself I was fine, that I didn't need anyone. But every night, when the world grew quiet, I missed the version of me that used to believe in love. So I poured myself into work, early mornings, late nights, and a small apartment that never felt like home. Until the day Julian Rivers walked into my life. He was the new creative director at the firm. Confident. Sharp. The kind of man who didn't have to speak loudly to be noticed. He carried a quiet energy that made you want to listen. And the first time he said my name, it sounded different. Like he already knew how to speak to my soul. At first, I kept my distance. But Julian had a way of showing up in small, unexpected moments. An extra cup of coffee on my desk, a soft smile across a crowded meeting room, a gentle "you're doing great" after a long day. I told myself he was just being kind. But deep down, I knew it was more. One evening, the power went out in the office during a storm. Most people left early, but I stayed behind to finish a report. I didn't even notice he had stayed too. The air was filled with the scent of rain and coffee, and when I looked up, he was standing by the window, watching the lightning paint the sky. He turned to me and said, "You don't always have to be strong, Claire. It's okay to let someone hold the pieces with you." That was the night something shifted. The next few weeks became a blur of late-night talks, shared laughter, and long drives that had no destination. He made me feel seen in a way I hadn't felt in years. But with every heartbeat, I was also terrified. Because falling for him meant opening wounds I had promised never to touch again. Then came the night he kissed me. It wasn't planned. We were walking home after a late dinner, and the air was cold enough to make our breath visible. He reached for my hand, and for a second, the world stood still. His eyes met mine, and without words, he leaned in. It was soft. Careful. The kind of kiss that speaks of everything you've both been too afraid to say out loud. My heart ached and healed all at once. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't afraid of love. But life has a cruel way of testing us when we least expect it. Julian got an offer to move to New York for a massive project. It was everything he had ever wanted. I tried to be happy for him, but my chest burned with the thought of losing him. The night before he left, we met at our favorite cafe. He told me he wanted me to come with him. That he didn't want to build a life where I wasn't a part of it. I looked into his eyes and wanted to say yes. But something inside me knew I wasn't ready. I still hadn't fully healed from my past, and I didn't want to build something new on the foundation of something broken. So I said no. He held my hand, tears glistening in his eyes, and whispered, "Then I'll wait for you." And he did. Months passed. I rebuilt myself again. Slowly, carefully. I learned to love my own company, to forgive my past, and to believe that maybe love wasn't meant to be perfect. It was meant to be patient. Then one morning, I got a message from him. Just 5 words. "I'm back. Can we talk?" When I saw him again, standing in the same cafe where everything began, it felt like time had stopped. He looked at me the same way he did that night in the storm, softly, as if afraid I might disappear. He smiled and said, "You look like you found yourself." I smiled back and replied, "I had to so I could find you again. We didn't rush. We didn't make promises. We just sat there, two souls who had walked through their own storms, finally ready for the calm that came after. It wasn't a perfect ending, but it was ours." Sometimes, love doesn't come back to pick up where it left off. It comes back to remind you that you are always worth staying for. Tell me, have you ever loved someone, lost them, and then found your way back to yourself? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to read your story. And don't forget to like this video, turn on notifications, share it with someone who believes in second chances, and subscribe for more stories that touch the heart from Moonlight and Roses.